everybody, and welcome back to Nailin It, the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. If you're new here and you don't know who I am, my name is Olivia. I'm a fully qualified nail technician and I've been qualified for about 2 years now. I work from my home salon in my spare room and I am self-employed. I really love my job and I am passionate about all things nails, as you can probably guess. So if you're the same, you've definitely found the right place and I would love for you to stick around. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about how to build a loyal client base. I know from experience how difficult it can be when you're starting out to build up a really lovely client base that you look forward to seeing and people that take care of their nails, because that is also an important aspect of it as well. So hopefully some of my tips and advice can help some of you, but before I actually get into the topic of today's episode, I do want to make a little bit of an announcement. It was announced on Monday that I am a brand ambassador for Nabovi. Now, if you don't know who Nabovi are, they are a brand that's sole focus is based around e-filing. So they sell e-file drill bits, they sell a gorgeous e-file, which Sadie, the brand owner and founder, actually really kindly sent me one to welcome me to the brand as a brand ambassador. Everything they do is just perfection. Sadie is so passionate about what she does and she really is the queen of e-filing. So if you want to get your hands on some amazing drill bits, I would definitely recommend starting off with the barrel bit in Coast, and I would go for medium. That's the one that I have. They've just released a coarse one, so I haven't tried the coarse one yet, but I like the medium one. And then there's a diamond flame bit that is called Tiki, and that's really great for lifting off all of the dead skin around the cuticles. So if you're just starting out, you've never heard of Nabovi before, I would definitely give those two drill bits a try, and you can use my code Olivia5 at checkout for a cheeky little discount. And I will be open and honest, I do get commission from that, I'd be really grateful and appreciative if you used it. And I honestly couldn't be more proud to be a part of Nabovi. It really is an amazing brand and Sadie is the loveliest person and I can't wait to see what the future holds. She also has 2 other brand ambassadors, Hannah Beth and Alex. Hannah Beth's Instagram is at Studio by Hannah Beth and Alex's is at Put It in Neutral. Actually, let me just double check exactly what his handle is because I think it's got some dots and stuff in there. Let me see. So it's put.it.in.neutral, NUDETRAL. So that they are the other 2 brand ambassadors. If you want to go and give them a follow, they also have their own personal codes as well, if you'd rather use theirs. So I will move on to the How to Nail It segment of the podcast. If you don't know what this segment is, it's where I answer one of your questions. So if you do have a question for me and you want advice on something, then do send it over through my email, which is novalinails@gmail.com. This question has actually come from Instagram. So Julia sent me this message on Instagram and I thought it would be a really great one to answer in the podcast. I asked her if it would be okay and if I could share her Instagram handle and she said that was fine. So her Instagram handle is @_creations_by_Julia_. That was a lot of underscores, but if you want to go and check her out, she's got some gorgeous sets of nails on there and she's very passionate about what she does. She's messaged me a few times and she's super lovely. So I will read out her question. It's actually a couple of different questions, so I'll read them out and then I will answer them. Hi, so I've got a question. I'm going to set up my own business from home. The only thing that's making me anxious is having strangers come to my house. How do you do it so that you feel safe letting people into your home? Now, obviously, I think this is something that we all worry about when we work from home. It's not the normal person working from home where they're just working on a laptop and they don't have to worry about this. Having strangers come into your house is a big deal and it shouldn't be something that's taken lightly. I don't really have any solid advice for you. The only solid advice I have is maybe put cameras up. So if you want to have a camera in your salon, a doorbell camera, just to to add that little bit of layer of protection, so you've got proof if anything happens to you, God forbid. But other than that, I think the best thing that you can do is stick to booking people in through Instagram DMs or Facebook Messenger. That way you've got control over who is booking in with you. Through a booking app, a lot of the times, obviously, people can just find you on the internet, book in with you, and you have no idea who that person is. You only know the name, you don't know what they look like. So I prefer to stick to using Instagram DMs. I make sure that that person has a profile picture and at least a few followers, just so that I know their profile is legit and they are a legit person. And also I like to talk to my clients before I book them in. So I think that gives them, I think if you go straight onto booking an appointment online without talking to the nail tech, it's a little bit impersonal. So I prefer to keep it personal. I get a feel for who that person is. If somebody messages me and they don't use manners, or they're really abrupt, or they don't have a profile picture and they've got no followers, I am most likely not going to reply to their message. I have quite a few messages still in my message requests that will stay there forever. And I know it sounds harsh because you can't judge someone from face value, and some people don't have message etiquette, but they are the nicest person in person. But if if you're not being polite to me over message, the chances are I don't want to meet you in person. Which I know sounds harsh, but I think it's the best way to think about it. You really do grasp who somebody is over a message. You get a feel for who they are and how polite they are, if they're a nice person, if they're serious about booking in. I am very fortunate that every single one of my clients that I've had so far has been great and trustworthy, and I have felt comfortable letting them into my home. And I really do think that is down to me being able to be that first point of contact, so I can get to know a little bit about who they are before they actually show up and see me in person. So yeah, I don't actually have any solid advice for you, but that is the best advice that I can give. Once you've built up that client base, or you've gotten a little bit more comfortable with letting people into your home, you can then maybe move on to like an online booking app. But I'm 2 years in and I still prefer doing it on Instagram DMs, and I've never had an issue with it. So yeah, you can take that for what it is. And then Julia actually asked another question. So, do you get clients who lose their nails after a week? Like the whole biab comes off. I have one client whose nails are so fragile they start lifting and breaking after 2.5 weeks. She uses the gel bottle at the moment. She'd love to try Hona, but she's short on money. She did ask another question, I think. I'm about to do my hairdresser's nails and she mentioned that nothing stays on her nails for longer than a week. Is this normal? So there's so many different things that come into play when you are looking at the retention of each individual client. So obviously, the main thing that you can do as a nail technician is make sure that you're prepping the natural nail properly and also doing prescriptive manicures. That means that you are looking at every single client as an individual and you are assessing their nails, the health of their nails, and what product will work best on them and whether you should even carry out the service or not. It's not always necessary to perform a service on somebody. If their nail health isn't great, then that always should come first. So that's the things that you can do as a nail technician, is do prescriptive manicures and make sure that you're really honing in on the prep of the natural nail. So that means wiping with acetone before you start the service to get any like dust or debris or oil off the nail before you start etching it, and then obviously etch the natural nail, don't buff it. So a lot of the times I use the Hona etching tool now, which is a really great tool to use because it etches the nail with a 100 grit or 150 grit file, but it does it in a way where you're not risking over filing the nail, because I know that when you file with a hand file, with that harsh of a grit, you obviously run the risk of going over the same spot in the nail multiple times. And when the grit is that harsh, that's obviously over filing the nail plate. So I found that the Honer etching tool is a really, really great tool to use to prevent over filing, but also making sure that you're etching the natural nail properly as well. Obviously making sure that you're applying the product correctly and using the correct lamp. There are so many different things that play into the retention of your clients' nails. But if you've got the odd couple of clients that are struggling with retention and everyone else's retention is perfect, I will say that most likely it is down to the client, their lifestyle, how they look after their nails, the aftercare. It all plays into that. So you need to be really making sure that you're explaining to your clients that what you're putting on their nails is not bulletproof, and it does require them to take care of it. Obviously with people's natural nails, they tend to not take care of them and they break and they chip and they split. And when you put builder gel on top of that, they think that their nails are then bulletproof and they can do anything with them and they should last. And that is just not the case. So you need to be making sure that you're educating your clients on the correct aftercare. Now, obviously, I think you mentioned that her nails are really fragile. So if she's got really weak nails and you're putting like a builder gel on top of that, then most likely any brand that you use is not going to stay on. She would be better off with maybe like a rubber-based gel manicure to start off with until her nails get nice and healthy. That way she's got some good flex in there, so the rubber base doesn't chip off, and hopefully that would stay on better. You can look into trying like a different brand of products, or you could try acrylic or hard gel. Make sure that you're really assessing her nails and actually giving her the service that she needs and not just the service that she wants. I know that it can be really frustrating when you are trying your best and you think that you're doing everything right and you still have that client that comes to you with chipped nails and broken nails. But if you stick with them and they stick with you and you really figure it out together, you will find something that works eventually. It might be a longer road, but you will get there. So just persevere and try and make sure that you are giving her a prescriptive manicure. Thank you so much for your question, Julia, and thank you for letting me answer it on the episode instead of typing it back to you, because that would have taken me a while to type out. But again, Julia's Instagram is _creations_by_Julia_ if you want to go and check her out. Thank you again, Julia, for your question. So now it's time to get into the actual topic of this episode, which, as I mentioned, is how to build a loyal client base. So when I first started out, I definitely did not dive in head first. I think I waited about a year before I really started to advertise myself properly. To start off with, I had maybe like 5 or 6 regular clients, and I also did my sister's and my mum's nails. So I really started off slow and eased myself into it because I felt that that's what was best for me. But when I did start advertising and really taking it seriously and posting on social media consistently and posting my availability, I really started to see my client base grow quite rapidly. So I know that it is possible to grow it really quickly from the ground up. So hopefully some of my tips and advice can help you do that. Now, this advice is based off of my own experience, also based off of some of the things that I've heard work from other nail techs as well, not necessarily things that I've done. So just bear that in mind. Before I get into talking about how to build a loyal client base, I'm going to talk about how to actually initially build up your client base. So even just gaining those first few clients. So I think that from the get-go, when you first qualify, it's really important to make sure that you are posting consistently on social media. You've got to view your social media pages as your portfolio and the progress that you have gone on and the journey that you've gone on. So People really love to see someone's journey on social media, and people love to follow that journey. So I would really capitalize on that and, start posting on social media from the get-go. It's important to remember that you don't have to be creating perfect sets of nails to be able to post them on social media. All of your first sets are just as valid to be on there as anyone else's. I have mentioned this in a previous episode, I think, but I think posting the reality instead of just perfection allows other people to have something to relate to. And also, all of those first sets you do, the journey that you going on with your training and practicing, it all makes for really amazing content on social media. Now, obviously, your content to start off with, if you've never done it before, isn't going to be great, but it's best to get that teething process out of the way whilst you are in your training stage, because then when your nails do turn out really perfect and beautiful, then you are at the point where you are also creating really beautiful content as well, and you're taking really amazing photographs because you've already had that teething process at the same time as having your teething process in your training as well, if that makes sense. So yeah, make sure you view your social media as your portfolio. People love a journey, and make sure that you are posting every set that you do and explaining what it is you've done in that service so people can see that you know what you're talking about. Show before and after pictures, show the retention of your clients' nails so people know that what you're doing is staying on the nails. A set of nails doesn't always have to look pretty, but if they have stayed on and they've stood the test of time, then that is almost more important than them looking nice. And when you're in your training stage, make sure that you start advertising for models straight away. Obviously, you want to gain as much practice on different people as you possibly can to start off with before you even start charging for your services. You want to obviously have lots of different nail types and nail shapes that you've worked on under your belt before you actually put yourself out there. So start advertising for models. That will be a really great way to build up your client base, because most likely those models will stick with you and turn into paying clients as well. So once you've done those models, and hopefully a few of those models have turned into paying clients, you can then actually start advertising your services and posting your availability. I think it's really important to make sure that you're posting your availability as much as possible on your stories. Keep showing up, keep reminding people that you exist and that you are there, and that you are offering a service that they most likely want. I would say probably 70% of women out there want their nails doing, and they just may not know how to go about it. So if you can make it as easy as possible for them, that is the best thing to do. And that also goes along with making sure that your Instagram bio and your Instagram, TikTok, Facebook bios are all really clear. So make sure that you have your name in there if your Instagram handle doesn't have your name in. Make sure that you have the services that you're providing. So whether that's like builder gel or acrylic, you could put the brand that you use, whatever it is that you're providing, put that in your bio and put it near the top of your bio. You can put your location in your Instagram bio as well, just so that people know where you are and they don't have to ask that question. I think that giving people as much information as possible before they even have to contact you is really great, because it saves you a lot of time in the booking process, and it obviously also means that if they have that information already, they're more likely to book in because they don't have to ask loads of questions. Now, this next point I know that some nail techs don't agree with, and they think that you should just dive right in and charge full price for your services if you feel like you're ready. But I think if you're building up a client base, it's really important to put out there like an introductory offer, whether that's, I'm offering 20% off off my services for the first like 2 months of being open, or you could say like the first 20 people to book in will get £10 off their appointment. You know, don't short yourself, but make sure that you keep in mind that offering something like an incentive will get people in the door and in your seat, and they will most likely keep coming back once your prices go to like the full price. When I first started out, I was charging just £20 for everything. I wasn't even charging any extra for nail art or anything, and all of those clients that I had back then, well, pretty much all of them, I would say, like 85% of those clients that paid that introductory offer of £20 still come to me today and are happy to pay my full prices that I charge now. So just bear that in mind, that doing an introductory offer is actually really beneficial to get people through the door, and they most likely will stick around. Also, don't rely on one social media platform to advertise yourself. Post on everything as often as possible. Obviously, you can link your Instagram to your Facebook so that when you post on Instagram, it automatically posts to Facebook, which is a really great tool to use. Make sure you're posting in your local buy and sell pages on Facebook. That's a really great way to target your local area, because obviously the people that are booking in with you are going to be from your local area, and Instagram is a little bit more global than that. It's harder to hone in on the people in your local area. But the way that I made sure I was trying to target the people in my local area on Instagram was to use the hashtag nail salon Lancaster. That I'm obviously based in Lancaster, so you would use whatever town or city you live in. And when you actually type into the search bar nail salon Lancaster, I'm one of the first ones that first pages that pops up, and I use that hashtag on every single one of my posts. So I also know that has worked for me, because I tend to ask people how they found me, and I've definitely had at least maybe 10 clients that have found me through simply typing in on Instagram like nail salon in Lancaster, and I've been the page that pops up for them. So that's a really, really great way to target the audience that you are wanting to target. And on TikTok, I tag my location. So I don't hashtag it because that doesn't really work on TikTok. I use the actual location tag, and I tag Lancaster. A lot of the times, people are like scrolling through their For You page, and one of my like day in the lives will pop up, and they will be intrigued, and then they'll see that I'm based in Lancaster, and they'll be like, oh, that's actually just down the road for me. And TikTok does actually target people in your local area if you tag your location, so that really does work as well. Now, when you are at the very beginning of building up your client base, you obviously are going to have quite a lot of availability, well, hopefully have a lot of availability and time on your hands, because you aren't full with clients. So make sure that instead of just wasting that time doing something else, you are still working on your business and building your business up. So what I mean by that is use the time that you would be with clients to practice on fake nails. So you could practice like nail art, you could practice on yourself, you could, do your acrylic technique, your builder gel technique, practice multiple different skills. You can use that time to create content as well, obviously at the same time as you're practicing. That's a really great way of sort of testing out what types of videos work, because you've got the time to figure it out and try lots of different things and see what it is that your audience likes to watch. And don't just create content based around like nails. You can also base it around like your salon, so your environment that you're working in. You could do like a desk tour, a room tour, show people what's in your drawers. You could tell people what your favorite products are, you know, show your face a little bit in videos, do voiceovers. Things like that are really beneficial to gaining clientele as well, because if people can see the space that they're coming into and the person that they're going to be sat in front of before they're actually sat in front of them, that just makes them feel a little bit more comfortable and a little bit less nervous about actually coming to have their nails done. Because I know for me, if I went on social media and I couldn't see the person behind the artwork, that would really deter me away from booking in with them. I don't think that I would feel comfortable to actually go and sort of walk in blind, if that makes sense. I don't know what room I'm walking into. I don't know the type of person that I'm going to be sat in front of. Their art might be amazing, but if I don't get along with them, I'm not going to want to sit there for 2-3 hours and have amazing artwork put on my nails if they're not the type of person for me. So I think if you show people who you are and show your personality, that will mean that the people that actually do book in with you are most likely people that connect with you and that want to sit with you for, you know, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, however long it is every 3 weeks. Now, obviously, social media is a really amazing tool to use because it's free to use and it's accessible to most people. So that is like the main way that I advertise myself, and it truly is like how I gained probably like 60% of my client base is through social media. But obviously there are other things that you can do aside from social media. So you could like create a nice little leaflet that you could go and post in your local area. Posting those leaflets just down the street you live on, you know, a few streets around you would be really helpful, because obviously you know then people live really close by, and it's really convenient for them to just walk down the road and get their nails done rather than drive into town and get them done instead. And then you could, you know, create your own little business cards that you can hand out when you're out and about. Ask other businesses if they wouldn't mind you leaving them there. And most of the time people will be really supportive and they will allow you to do that. I actually saw a girl post on TikTok, and she went into, I think she was in like a Boots or something, or maybe it was in America, but anyway, it was like some sort of like beauty store. And she had her little business cards with her, and she just went and posted those business cards put them in like all different beauty products. So like she slid them in like the back of a packet of lashes and like put them behind like some lipsticks, so that when girls were like buying those products, they would obviously see that her business card was in there. And I thought that was a really, really clever way of marketing yourself, because obviously you are targeting your audience there already, and you know, if they're buying beauty products, they're most likely somebody that's into getting their nails done as well. So I thought that was a really, really, really clever thing to do. I don't know if it's legal, but I mean, nobody's gonna tell you off, are they? Also, collaborating with local businesses would be really great. So if you've got like a hair salon down the street, you could, you know, collaborate with them and say, you know, if your customers come to me, they'll get a discount, and if my customers come to you, can they have a discount? That way you're both helping each other. And what else could you do? You can talk to people, you know, if somebody sees your nails and they're done really pretty and they compliment them, you can tell them that you're a nail technician and give them your business card. There is no harm in putting yourself out there and being confident to offer your services to people. So now I've talked about how to gain your initial client base, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to make them stay and make them loyal clients. So the best thing that you can do to make people come back is obviously provide a high quality service. So as I talked about earlier from Julia's question, make sure that you're offering prescriptive manicures. So make that person feel like they are getting what it is that they need as well as what they want, and make sure that you're explaining to them, the different products that you have and why something may work for them or may not work for them. If you educate them on what it is that you're doing and the things that they're most likely to keep coming back, because they know that you know what you're talking about. And that gives them confidence in you, and that means that you are providing a better quality service than there may be like on a high street salon where it's just a quick in and out treatment. And you do find now that a lot of people are wanting to steer away from going to those high street salons that aren't providing a high quality service. They're realizing now that you can actually go to independent nail techs, pay like a little bit more or maybe even the same amount to get a much better service and a more personal experience. People much prefer to sort of go a little bit out of their way even to get a nice quality service and a nice set of nails and pay a little bit extra than to go, where it's convenient and quick. I know that when I was a teenager, I used to go to the high street salons because I used to get acrylic nails. And I actually never really enjoyed going. It was never an enjoyable experience for me. I never felt relaxed. I never felt like I could truly ask for exactly what it was I wanted. When I left, I never felt like my nails were what I wanted. I always felt rushed to make a decision, and I was never asked during the service if what they were doing was what I wanted. I was never asked to check the shape or the length, like, are these okay for you? I think there's a lack of communication in those high street salons. Because they just want bums in the seats as quickly as possible, and then the next bum in the seat after that as quickly as possible. A lot of the times I went to get a full set of acrylic nails and I would be done in an hour, which to me is totally crazy, and they never lasted all that great either. So I think that remembering that people are coming to you to not only get a beautiful set of nails, but for the whole experience of coming to you as well. And that includes doing things like offering people drinks, having nice music on, having a nice smell in the salon as well, making sure that your space is nice and tidy and clean. I am really notoriously bad for not offering my clients drinks. I am terrible at it. Most of my clients know me by now anyway, and they will ask for a drink if they want one, but I am honestly the worst, so don't take that advice from me. But people do love to be offered a drink. I think it elevates the service just that little bit more, and I am going to vow to do a lot better at it and try and offer my clients a drink. You heard it from me. I will do better. And then obviously what comes along with a really great service is, this may seem obvious, but making sure that you're interested in your clients and who they are and their personal lives. You have to see yourself as a very neutral person in your client's life. You are somebody they see every 3 weeks, and they sit with you for up to 2 hours sometimes. So you know them well enough that they can feel comfortable to talk to you, but they don't know you too well that they feel like they can't be honest. So I think that you become a real sounding board for some people. They tend to talk to you about what's going on in their lives, whether that's good, whether that's bad, whether it's sad. You become that person that they feel comfortable to talk to, and you are a neutral sort of party in their lives. You don't offer any sort of advice that would sway them one way or another. You're just a listening ear for them, and that is a really important part of the service that you provide as well. If if a client comes to you and they're having a really terrible week, if they've had some really bad news, it's important that you listen to them and you put down the tools just for a few minutes, just to look them in the eye and ask them if they're truly okay, and hand them a tissue if they need it. Those things make a huge difference in somebody's life, and that's really important to think about. You know, you've got to put yourself in that client's shoes in everything that you do. And if you were to go to, you know, get your nails done or get your lashes done, whatever it was, and you went to see your beautician and you were really upset because you got some bad news and they basically ignored you, or you felt like an inconvenience to them, you most likely wouldn't feel comfortable to go back and see that person again. So it seems obvious, but make sure that you are really taking the time to listen to your clients and pay attention to what it is they're saying, because sometimes that's more important than, you know, getting the service done quickly, or giving them like that intricate design that they came in wanting. And hopefully if you implement all of these things into your service, you will gain a really loyal client base, because they will want to keep coming back every few weeks. And you will also gain more clients from that client, because if you're giving them a really good experience and you're giving them a really amazing set of nails, then most likely their friends and family are going to want to come to you as well. And if a client that you already have has recommended you to somebody else, most likely that person's going to be really lovely and loyal too. So that's a really good way of building up your client base. Oh my god, I can't get my words out now, I've been talking for too long. But yeah, make sure that you're keeping that in mind, that every appointment that you have is an advertisement for your business. Stay professional, but not too professional, if that makes sense. I hope that I've covered all of the points I wanted to cover. I feel like I've been talking for a long time, and I hope that you found some of these points helpful. Now, usually I do a submitted story at the end, salon scares, but I don't actually have a story submitted for this week, and I am in a little bit of a rush to record this episode, if I'm honest. I thought I recorded it yesterday, but I didn't push the button, so I was sat here talking to myself for a good 45 minutes. So I'm actually supposed to not be working right now. I've just quickly tried to get this episode done, so I hope that it doesn't seem rushed, and I hope that you enjoyed it. I am off to Lytham Festival today to watch Hosier. I am very, very excited. I hope you all have a lovely week as well. And just a little reminder, obviously it's Wednesday if you're listening to this when it was released. The episodes will now be released on a Wednesday rather than a Friday. I just found that fit better with my routine, and it was a little bit easier for me to do it that way if I actually press record on the freaking microphone. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it was helpful, and remember to use code Olivia5 at checkout when you're shopping Nabovi. I would be very grateful and appreciative of that. But yes, I hope you all have a lovely rest of your week, and I will speak to you next Wednesday. Thank you so much for listening. Bye bye.